So let's travel back in time. Picture this. It's 2004, and you, and by you I mean me, are patiently waiting for your mum to check out the shopping at Safeway, or some other supermarket that doesn't exist anymore, when something in your periphery seems to call to you, and your little toddler eyes lock onto something filled with wonder. The Capsule Machines. Your mother probably lets out an audible sigh as you plead to have just one toy. Fine, just one. 50 pence, what a scam. You spin the dial, the capsules rattle, and now you have a little piece of magic in your hands. Oh, I wanted Pikachu. Can I have another one? With Pokemon being the highest grossing media franchise of all time, it's not really a surprise that there's an endless pile of stuff to buy. But while these days, most of this merchandise either comes from the Pokemon Center itself, or some specially selected brand that they partner with, in earlier times Pokemon were a little less selective about what they'd allow their precious license to be used for. I remember so much weird Pokemon merch from my early childhood in the mid-2000s, and I never see people talk about any of it, so today I will step up and spread the word. So what better place to start than with Capsule Machines? I remember seeing Capsule Machines with Pokemon toys all over the place as a kid. Again, mid-2000s, so it wasn't really the sort of thing that would have been published online, and for the life of me, I can't find any information on them, but I swear they existed. I have a super distinct memory of getting a Delcatty from one of these, which I then proceeded to immediately lose in a McDonald's. I've thought about that Delcatty many times over the years. I'm like 90% sure that I got this little Roltz pencil topper from one of these. I really wanted to figure out what this little figure was, so I got to researching. It doesn't give me bootleg vibes, but if I type in Roltz pencil topper into Google, I get basically nothing. I managed to find it on a random blog from a Roltz collector, but even they seemed pretty clueless as to where this actually came from. The next break in the case came when I found a picture of it on Google Images, which led me to a listing on some Swedish site. This didn't tell me much more, but there were a load of other Pokemon pencil toppers in the recommended listings. A clue. So I start looking up the other ones and I get my answer. This is from a line of figures sold in Italian surprise eggs. I don't think that I got it from an Italian surprise egg. Who knows how it got into a British capsule machine. Regardless, I consider this mystery partially solved. The next quest we need to undertake is to find a sponsor, because I had to buy a lot of weird stuff for this video. Thankfully, Raid Shadow Legends are the real ones and they've got us covered. Today I get to show you the new live arena feature, and we got the spooky Professor Death Knight to help explain it for us.
Professor Death Knight here with a lesson about Live Arena, the new PvP mode where you can fight against other players in real time. Live Arena has a draft feature where you can pick and ban champions to fight for you. When you win matches, you'll get Live Arena crests towards unlocking special area bonuses, or so I hear. I'm too afraid to try any of this out. Alright class, any questions?
I do have a question. So we know Raid has some cool tunes. So what do you think my battle theme would sound like if I was a Raid character?
It's gotta be upbeat, high tempo, like a song that really pumps up the jam. Or one that gets you jiggy with it. Sorry, you know I'm like 1,000 years old, right?
Sure, thanks. If you haven't started playing Raid yet, you can use my link in the description or scan my QR code to get crazy bonuses. You can get the epic champion Talia and other super useful things. New players can get the champion Stagnite with a special skin using the promo code JTSkin. And you can get the legendary champion Sun Wukong. All you gotta do is sign in for 7 days. Easy. Alright, Professor Death Knight, sign us off.
I hope you use this knowledge you've gained here today about Live Arena to head off and do battle! Live! Make this whole Dead Bones Professor proud, folks.
Alright, thank you Professor Death Knight, and thank you to Raid for sponsoring the video and for fueling my ever-growing collection. It is a problem, and you have enabled me. Alright, back to weird capsule machines. I swear it was also from one of these capsule machines where I got a Pokemon Mighty Bean of Mightyena. Mighty Beans! With a Z because it was 2004. They're these weird little jumping beans with Pokemon on them. I'm definitely not the only one that thought you could open the bean and nearly destroyed the whole thing. You could get them in packs of 2 or 5, but again, I swear I got mine from one of those weird capsule machines. All this really proves to me is that there was just a lot of weird stuff in these machines that probably wasn't meant to be there, but I have no way of proving this. For now, it only exists in my memories of random shopping centres in mid-2000s UK. They're quite rare now. They sell online for around $5 each, but can easily go for more. I think the main market for these is probably just people that like the particular Pokemon featured on the bean. Like, there are people that will make it their life's mission to acquire every piece of merchandise for one particular Pokemon. I have a lot of respect. Amazingly, I managed to acquire a sealed box of 5 beans. Like, don't get too excited, it's not gonna be worth Pokemon card money, but it's probably rarer than sealed Pokemon cards from that time period. I'm just ecstatic that I even managed to get my hands on it. So ecstatic that I'm not even going to comment on how obnoxiously large the packaging is for what is 5 beans. From what I gather, Pokemon beans were only released in Australia and the UK, also in Europe under the name Tico Tacos. Apparently in Italy they even released a racing track for the beans, which is now listed for £300. Every time I was taken on the weekly shop to Tesco's with my parents, I'd always longingly stare at the Pokeballs in the confectionery aisle. Again, these were Europe only and made by Tops. If you recognize that name, then it's probably from the trading cards they made. I remember I got a Trico from a repeat ball. Lost a long time ago, so my memories are a little fuzzy, but I definitely remember that I snapped, or possibly chewed its tail off. Evidently a shared experience, because when you look it up, lots of these figures are also tailless. I always had catastrophically bad luck with blind bag type things as a kid. I didn't even get a lot of these random Pokemon figures, but trust me to have 2 separate Licky Lickies. When I was about 6, my parents took us on a family holiday to Spain. I'm sure they were hoping I'd pick something a little more traditional as a souvenir. A snow globe, maybe a fridge magnet, but the little shop where we were staying had a display of Topps Pokeballs, so the fridge magnets didn't stand a chance. I bought loads of these trying to get the Rayquaza figure, but was unsuccessful. My older sister, of course, bought 1 Pokeball and got Rayquaza on the first try. For something that retailed at £2, most of the figures were surprisingly decent quality. Not all of them. There were a lot of unique and super funky Pokeball designs too. Like, for what it went hard. They stopped making these around Gen 5, but I still have some of the figures that I got back in the day. I think it would be so cool to have a full collection of these. They're pretty hard to track down, but who knows how many lurk in car boot sales and charity shops. I recently found this Munchlax at a car boot sale. I have fond memories of these little mystery Pokeballs, but Pokemon blind boxes have come a long way in recent years. I'm a particularly big fan of the Rement figures. They're these super intricate little statues. If you go to an anime convention, you'll probably find them somewhere. So this isn't something from my childhood, but I want to talk about it. Have you ever heard of Pokemon bread stickers? Me neither until very recently. Over the years, when looking for official Pokemon artwork to use in videos, I would occasionally find scans of artwork I'd never seen before, all usually in the same art style, and they'd all have this distinctive black stroke around the artwork. So apparently these are stickers that you can get for free with Pokemon bread, which is a thing in Japan. But these things are seriously collectible, and there are thousands upon thousands of them, with people buying the bread just to get the stickers. They were re-released in South Korea last year, where they caused this total frenzy. Even members of BTS were posting about these bread stickers. I kinda just wanna try the bread. Apparently Ghastly tastes like chocolate. I'd like to confirm this hypothesis. This is important research. I have a few random bits of merchandise from my childhood, and I don't really know where most of it came from. My first ever Pokemon plush, this cherished Psyduck that I used to feature in a lot of my old videos, came from a Dickensian festival. Yes, as in Charles Dickens, very British thing, we don't need to get into it. He was in a lucky dip. I reached in, got a present, unwrapped him, and an extremely wholesome core memory was formed. I got this Pikachu plush out of a co-op bargain bin. I don't really know what it was doing there. It was probably made in the 90s, but it was the mid-2000s at this point. Pokemon wasn't cool anymore, and the shop wanted it gone. I was at an age where basically anything Pokemon would make me start salivating, and it was easier for my mum to just get the stupid bargain bin Pikachu than to say no. It was actually meant to be a backpack, but I decided that this was unacceptable, so I cut the straps off of it. I have freed you. A particular piece that I still have is this giant Togepi room greeter. It's just a big figure that makes a noise when you push the button. I'm finding out now that this thing has a sensor on it that activates when you move past it. That's why it's called a room greeter. These were apparently a popular thing in the late 90s. The more you know. The sensor on mine is definitely broken because I don't remember it ever doing that for me, and it's just as well because it's seen better days. I have another big electronic thing, this talking Pikachu piggy bank. I didn't even know it was electronic because the back of its head is just gone. No thoughts in here. I think he came from a car boot sale, so that sounds about right. Here's another thing that was around when I was a kid. Pokemon metal tags. They were these Pokemon dog tags that you get in boosters of 2 each. There were 2 different sets of these, and I still have the binders for both of them. Occasionally you'll still see them pop up in random places. Recently I found a bunch at a retro games fair. I sat on the floor, picking these tags out of a bucket of figures one by one, like the little pieces of treasure they are. I can barely find any information on these or the company Emacs that manufactured them, but it seems they were also likely just sold in the UK and possibly Europe. Confusingly, I've seen an alarming amount of bootleg Pokemon metal tags. They are still producing them now. The official ones haven't been sold for over 15 years. Who is asking for these? They all seem to come from Greece. I don't know, clearly there's just an incredible amount of demand for Pokemon metal tags, specifically in Greece. They can't get enough of them. And yes, I did buy some of the bootleg tags. Alright, let's open some bootleg tags. Oh man, gotta love the stolen fan art. Oh, these are beautiful. Oh, I get a sticker. No, it's just a piece of paper with tentacle on it. Okay, I got 2 tentacles. What a scam. Final pack. Looking good already. What the? Oh, this was fun. So we're gonna go back a little further now. If you were around when Pokemon first became popular, then you probably remember lots of things that I don't. During Pokemania, everything was Pokemon. Pokemon marbles, bouncy balls, or Pokemon Tazos. They're basically Pokemon pogs, thick little cardboard tokens that were included free in bags of crisps in the late 90s and early 2000s. Again, I'm too young that I don't have any memory of the original Pokemania, because I was a literal baby. But I do seem to remember having pogs around when I was little.
Hiya.
Hi. Just a quick one.
You alright?
I just have a question. When I was little, did I choke on a pog?
Yeah, you did.
Tell me about it.
So you had pogs and you liked them and they were a thing, and then one day you put one in your mouth and you started choking on it, and so I got my finger in your mouth to the back of your throat and wrenched it out. And you started crying, and that was it. Didn't let you have any more pogs after that.
Nearly killed by a pog.
You were rescued by your observant mother. I remember it. It was quite scary.
Well, thanks. Thanks for saving me.
That's all right. I'm glad I saved you.
So I survived the pogs, but I went from one choking hazard right to another. Pokemon WAPs. Yeah, you heard me right. Pokemon WAPs. I'm gonna be saying that a lot, so you need to get used to it. I remember these being everywhere around 2005. As far as I know, they were only available in the UK and some parts of Europe. Made by the company Panini, which basically made every sticker album in existence when I was growing up. Pokemon WAPs were these little stackable pieces of plastic with a Pokemon sticker on them, and I tell you, little 7-year-old Lucy lost her mind over these. I can only imagine the amount of eye rolls I must have received from my parents. Can I have a pack, please, Dad? Oh wow, more plastic tat! Products like these were made in the years when Pokemania was fading, but companies still wanted to get in on the Pokemon craze and just make Pokemon everything. There were definitely quality control issues. Ah, yes, my favorite Pokemon character. Brandon. I actually made videos on WAPs and metal tags back in the very early days of my channel. I guess not much has changed because I still find weird and obscure stuff supremely interesting. From my local newsagent, I got a big case that had a slot for every WAP. It got thrown out a long time ago. An absolute travesty, I know. So I decided to spend my hard-earned Pokemon YouTube money on another one. Out of all of the weird merchandise from when I was little, WAPs in particular hold a special place in my heart, so I decided to live out my childhood dream and try to finally complete the collection. So there are 3 different kinds of WAPs. There are the solid color ones with glitter in, and laser WAPs that sparkle. Except for the laser ones, I think that the regular WAPs can come in any color. So each laser WAP can come in one of 7 variants, and each regular WAP can come in one of 14 variants. So by my calculations, there should be a total of 1,862 unique WAPs. I'm not doing that. The goal here is to just fill up the case. While doing research, I found this weird sealed bag of 30 WAPs, so I obviously bought it. Yes, Mr. Taxman, this is a legitimate business expense, I promise. I'm quite the Pokemon WAP expert, but I'd never seen one of these before. Must have only been a European release. I first got a case off of eBay to replace the one that I had tragically lost. It came with a bunch of WAPs already in it, so this brought my total up to 66 out of 160 WAPs. So for hours I scoured through online listings to try and find the cheapest and most efficient way to acquire every single WAP. There was a complete set for £250, which in hindsight would have saved me quite a lot of time, but I'm nothing if not a cheapskate, so we are not resorting to that. If you're looking to complete a set of Pokemon WAPs, or really any kind of old plastic collectible, the best way to do it is to get a bunch of them in lots instead of buying them all one at a time. The thing is with WAPs though, is that almost all of the lots you'll find online come with a carry case, so I ended up with multiple cases. I got 67 new ones from this first lot, averaging out at around 44 pence for each new WAP. A steal. That leaves only 30 more to go. I bought another case, which had 24 new WAPs in it, averaging out for around £1 each. Not bad at all. 4 of the final WAPs I got in this giant lot for around £15, but now I was left with only 2 WAPs to find. Buying them all in lots really brought down the price per WAP down significantly, but with only 2 left, I had to suck it up and buy them individually for around £5 each. But the final WAPs, a Viper, arrived. I clicked it into place and the journey was over. Sitting before me was a complete collection of Pokemon WAPs. 7-year-old Lucy would be so proud, and it only cost me £90. But can you put a price on your childhood? I don't know how many people even have a complete collection of Pokemon WAPs, but it's a fun thought because of all the different color variants. Every collection's gonna be unique. Like, the number of unique sets there could hypothetically be would have a lot of zeros. So if you do have a complete set, it's probably the first time those WAPs have been arranged in that specific order. I think it's cool. Completing collections like these is genuinely an impressive feat, not because the items are really all that valuable, because currently they're not, but because they're so obscure now and it's genuinely challenging to track every piece down. Of course, these are the main ones from my childhood. I know it doesn't really scratch the surface of all the weird stuff from around that time that has Pokemon slapped on it. Maybe you were a fan of Pokemon Crags, or Stags, or Rocks, or Knocks, or Jenga cards. Strange plastic Pokemon things from the past have 1,000 names and are found pretty much all across the globe, but they all spark the same nostalgic feeling. Perhaps even you, dear viewer, have a rare piece of Pokemon merchandise in your collection. Who knows? Like, the vast majority of the stuff I've talked about today has very little monetary value. If you wanted to be rich, you should have just invested in sealed Pokemon cards 15 years ago. But I got my beans and I got my WAPs. So who really came out on top? The people that bought Pokemon cards. They are definitely the ones that won. There's really no question about that. Okay, bye!